Alright, I'm a bit late, but here we are, the end. Now I guess the beginning of the year, leftover PC giveaway. The first CPU broke, so I was set back just a little bit. More than already was.
If you got a problem, just give me a ring. I'll fix it with my speed. You get the hero guarantee, the one you can trust. With heavy drops in it, and heroes in the house, and we don't quit.
Depression is a bitch. Anyway, this PC is one I have mostly left over from the year, and I probably won't be using this year. It's probably one of the better AMD FX CPUs can get. I originally had an FX 8320, which performs similarly, but the 8350 is clocked higher by default. It still comes with the usual FX downsides. Next up, we have the R9 380, the 2GB version, the card I want to use in my last $100 build. It was just too big for that. This card is alright, especially for esports and old titles, since it has similar performance to the GTX 960. I'm going to admit that it's not the most amazing PC, and it struggles for a lot of newer games, but if you're into free games, older games, and esports, it does the job most of the time. So, we have here this big boy, the R9 380. It's big physically, performance-wise it can do, and can at least open most games with it having some DX12 compatibility. What I believe to be a mid-range GPU for the time it was launched in June 2015 with an MSRP of $199. Buying this about 9 years later, I think I got a good discount for buying this for about $10. For those who want it, we have the basic specs. The base clock is 970 MHz with a memory clock of 1375 MHz on a 256 memory bit bus. I didn't overclock this time around, but I did use modded drivers, so it has a better chance at compatibility with games. Now with old AMD cards, they are pretty thirsty. This card has a TDP of 190 watts, especially the performance you get out of it. For this specific card, we got the Asus Strix version. Big heat sink and big fan shroud for this card. They used the same design for both Nvidia and AMD cards at the time, so it can handle much stronger cards as well. It has an HDMI display port and 2 DVI ports. Originally started with the FX 8320, and after that broke, I used the next closest thing I had in stock, which would be the better clocked 8350. If you had to get an FX CPU, it would probably be the 8350, an 8 module CPU, not exactly cores, but I still like to jokingly call it an 8 core 4 thread CPU. It is okay at productivity tasks. It'll do better than old i5s, but in gaming, those old i5s will do much better. Launched October 23rd, 2012, this CPU is now over 12 years old. MSRP being $199, which is still cheaper than the i7s at the time. That's about why you would buy one of those back then. Now for the basics, it runs at 4 GHz and will turbo up to 4.2 GHz, so not too bad for a 12-year-old CPU. This does save it compared to the other FX chips, and is good for overclocking, even if I didn't decide to overclock it this time around. Again, just like the GPUs, the CPUs made around this time were thirsty. That's why AMD systems pre-Ryzen, pre-RX made decent space heaters. Thus the TDP of this CPU is 125 watts. Quick we'll go over the synthetic benchmarks. For Cinebench R23, the multi-score is 3,285 with a single score of 493. For 3D Mark, Firestrike is 7,391 with Time Spy with 2,871. And real quick, PCMark 3,579. So for some of the footage was taken from the older tests when their performance. So for some of the footage was taken from the older tests when performance was similar enough, so a few might say FX 8320 instead in the corner. Now for the gaming benchmarks. Hey guys, before we start the video, I need to make some money, and with that said, check out Poggers at PoggersLifestyle.com, a fun brand featuring everyone's favorite Pepe Frog, offering worldwide shipping and is family ran and operated. You can get their flavors for energy or simply just hydration from things like watermelon, mango, and raspberry, or even that American classic Rocket Pop. Yes, just like the popsicle. They also include a few options to help sleep. Hopefully they bring back a personal favorite flavor of mine, Cream Dream. It's orange, guys. Don't make it weird. You can also get Poggers brand shakers and even bundled deals at a great price. Anyway, use my affiliate link down below or use code POGHERO at checkout to save 10% off your order. So live that Poggers lifestyle. So let's get on with the video. as much as people are moving to Marvel Rivals from Overwatch, it's very unoptimized and isn't as friendly to lower end PCs. With an older GPU like this, the drivers at the moment will be very behind, even with modern drivers. Even with upscaling and frame gen, I could just barely get to feel playable. At the same time, it could easily be a CPU issue, but I can test that out in another time. We're almost up to 30 FPS in Cyberpunk, so if we just give it a little push, with just balanced FSR3, it stays above 30 FPS majority of the time. Now, frame gen is a magical thing from what I've seen so far. It seems to double frames when working properly. It might be because it's a bot match in CS2, but with each bot kill, the frame rate would increase, so it might be a CPU issue, but also the drivers are still out of date even with the modded ones. Palworld is mostly playable. If you wanted, you can get by, but at the same time, I would personally stay away. Strinova is a new release, and honestly, I like it over Valorant. Both aesthetics, and that I'm not absolute ass at the video game. This PC is far from being the best there is. This PC is far from price performance, but it is adequate for light productivity and light gaming. This PC will struggle with newer games for sure. The majority of older titles will run for sure, as well as free games and esports, except CS2. I have no clue what's happening there, but there are plenty alternative to play these days. And you have a chance to win this mediocre PC with leftover spare parts. I'll have a Google Doc in the description below and how to enter for this PC. While you're down there, check out any Amazon affiliate links I have. So let me know if you've used any of these parts before. I'm ManHero, something of a virtual YouTuber myself. Thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't, and just hate me. Subscribe for more, or if you're just masochistic, see you next time. Bye bye.
Get the fucking out of here!